Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we are going to be talking with Richard and Rachel. This is PyxelChat, a podcast where we talk about crypto technology as well as moving forward with the blockchain and Web 3.0. Richard, I'm a newbie. Let's say I don't know very much about a wallet. Can you explain to me the very basics of it? What is a wallet? What do I do with it? What's going on?
Yeah. So a crypto wallet can actually mean quite a few different things. But at the foundation of what it is a key or password into a location, like a safe deposit box. And in there you can have account balances and you can send them to other accounts.
Yep. So a crypto wallet is essentially just what it sounds like to a degree. It is a way that we take, fiat currency and we put it into the crypto space where we then can buy and sell and trade crypto. And the crypto wallet is where we store the crypto that belongs to us and where we make those transactions. It's kind of our portal into the blockchain, sort of.
And it gives you a unique security around your own finances. Because if you have your finances with an institution, then you're beholden to that institution to get your finances out. Someone can take them from you, the institution can have a problem, you may have to try to explain why this thing didn't happen, if the institution's wrong, but when you have your own key and your own account, and the security of the blockchain backs your balance, then those errors can't occur, and everything you do is true.
So an example of this would be like, if you write a check for $1 million and you go down to your bank, they will not give you $1 million in cash. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million in your bank account or not. Exactly. They don't have it. And there are also a lot of laws that are based around like, well, how much money can a bank give you at any given time? And these are different rules that are set in place that have nothing to do with your personal funds as you. And so when we're talking about this kind of the institution controls your money, it's kind of like, sure, you can have this amount of money, but this is also something that happened with the Great Depression, is people went to go in and cash out their funds, and it was like, sorry, we can't, money's not worth anything anymore. And Oof. It was, yeah. And it's not that there are no risks to crypto, but with DeFi crypto wallets in the decentralized finance space, you are in control of what you do with those finances. You won't be blocked by an institution to move money or send it to a family member or cash it out into, something else. That is something that you're able to do with your own autonomy.
And the pure convenience of it. So you go back to that $1 million example, they may put a hold on it for a certain amount of time because it's a large amount. Or they may ask you why you're moving those funds. They may flag them for some reason and do some sort of investigation. All just to move funds that are yours.
Yeah, that's a little scary, isn't it?
Yeah, but not only that, but just to move those funds in general, okay, you've got to do a wire. Well, does your bank have an online portal for wires? Do they charge you a fee? What does that take? How long does it take to get there? What is, how is it displayed to you when it's done so that you can actually understand what occurred? And when you're doing this, once you understand wallets and the sending and receiving of transactions and the visibility that you have into your own accounts, that can't be falsified and it can't be untrue, then you don't have any of those risks.
Yeah.
Or inconveniences.
This makes me think about when we tried to put a down payment on our first house. We'd been banking with the same place for so long. And when I say so long, I mean 8 years. And in order to do some of this, we had to do all of this paperwork. And we're who we are. That we're the people we've been this whole time. But we had to jump through all of these different hoops. and fill out all of this stuff and like have them go through and like re-verify parts of our account. And it was just kind of like, okay, we'll do this. Like we don't have another thing to do. But I remember us being kind of like, we've been doing this for like a long time. And now just because we want to do something very specific, you feel the need to go back through and like rehash like everything about us to double check. It was so arbitrary. And it put like it changed our timeline getting that stuff done.
But with a crypto wallet, you can just do it. You can execute, right?
Yeah, you are the person who is in control. So if you make that decision, then you don't have to get permission from someone else. You don't have to, check with your bank to make sure that they allow you to do that kind of withdrawal or, fill out extra paperwork verifying that you want to make that withdrawal. It's just yours. You just do it.
Now, when cryptocurrency was, it was fledging, it was just kind of coming around, you had to enter really long keys to transfer to people. But now software just pretty much helps automate almost everything for you. There's a couple different types of wallets. There's physical ledger type wallets, these cold wallets, and then hot wallets. Could you kind of touch briefly about that, Richard and Rachel, talking about those different types of wallets, maybe what private keys are, stuff like that?
So what they mean by hardware wallet is some sort of device that is not connected to the internet or that has some sort of like extra security layer before it connects to the internet to sign and send a transaction that you may want to do with your tokens or with a contract or something like that. And with a hot wallet, this is just an app on your phone that may try its best to secure this information, but it is an application on a device that's directly connected to the internet. And there's all kinds of malware and those types of things that happen. So you just have to know kind of like how the security works and who to trust.
Right on. Now, hot wallets, they usually have like a seed phrase that's like 12 words, I believe. Hot wallets normally have double that.
Either 12 or 24. You can find applications that'll support both of those in both realms.
Cool. I'm assuming more is better. It's maybe a little more difficult to guess. Is that the case?
Yep.
Yeah, something that's really interesting about the crypto space is they call these passcodes or phrases, they call them seed phrases. And they are a random assortment of words that are assigned to your account. And you essentially just have to record those offline. You don't want to save them to your computer. You don't want to send them to anybody because they are the keys to accessing your funds. And if you lose them, or if somebody steals them, or if you give them to someone, then those funds are functionally theirs. But, it can be different words like, moon 12, peanut butter, whatever. And it's, I'm
that's
like,
my seed phrase.
I was about to say, I'm like, what is
Don't
not my seed phrase? But it's just like
so
this.
It's like sun 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know the one. But the thing that's just really interesting is like, so since you're not the one making your password, you can't be like
You can't mess it up.
No, I was out with my mom yesterday, and I happened to not pay attention while she was putting in her PIN number for her card, and it was her birth year.
Oh, wow.
I'm not joking. And I'm just like watching this, I'm like, the PIN number for your card is your birth year? That is the first thing someone's gonna guess. A four-digit number for this person. I wonder what it could possibly be.
Well, of course it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, absolutely. 69. But what I mean is that like we fall into this pretty much effortlessly because we're human, if we make something, if we're supposed to come up with a password, we want something that we can remember. We want something that is valid to our experiences, but that makes it also inherently personally unsafe, because if you're like, ooh, I'm going to take Rachel's identity, you'd be like, what's her birthday? I'll plug that in, and before I got more involved in internet security, I didn't see the negatives to using like the last two of my birth year to like add numbers to the end of something. And now that I know a little bit more, I'm like, wow, that's not good. That's bad. And by bad, I mean unsecure. Not like morally bad, but dangerous.
Right. Makes you more susceptible to risk, right?
And so something that's cool that I liked about my seed phrase is that I couldn't unconsciously have bias about it and make it about my life. Make it easier to remember and fudge it by being like, oh yeah, let me talk about my cats or something. It was just random words, and the fact that there was that randomness there helped protect me. And it's worth it, in my opinion, now that I know better.
Right on. It's funny, I see them called mnemonic phrases, and there's no way I'm remembering that.
You remembered oh man, but I can't say it.
Yeah.
Mnemonic. Mnemonic.
You gotta roll your tongue on that one. Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you're talking about that, where you take it offline. You definitely never want to put those online. Isn't that right? And I personally...
Yeah, and that includes a screenshot or taking a picture of it.
Oh, yeah, because that's still putting it online.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I mean, most people don't know that their photos are typically auto-backed up or something like that. And, I mean, people have image recognition for information like that.
Yeah.
Now, I personally have mine written on a little card, and I have it hidden away. I won't find my my name.
I'll tell you where it is later.
But do you have any like recommendations for that? I know that could be a little weird. I've seen some products where you have like a metal tube and like you have little metal like adjustable cards on it. I thought about etching mine onto a metal card and burying it somewhere. But do you have any recommendations for keeping that safe? I know it could be a little bit
paper
strange.
wallets. Paper wallets for sure. Yeah.
Okay, could you actually explain a little bit about paper wallets, Richard?
Yeah. So there's a few different types of paper wallets. So one of them is for Bitcoin specific clones. This is, I think it's called BEP39 encryption. And you can print that on a piece of paper, and then when you go to scan it and import it, it will ask you for a password.
Okay. And so what do you do with that password?
So then you put the password in, and it can decrypt it and re-import it into a wallet.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so you can offload your wallet, and then you could even delete that computer if you wanted to. And then have all of that secured behind a password that you just remember.
Okay, so does that give it a traditional spin on what the previous seed phrases would be, basically? Where you can decrypt your wallet? Okay. And it adds like another layer, so you still have that security from before.
Yeah. I mean, that way you don't have to try to remember 12 words.
Fair enough.
Or 24.
Way too many.
Now, let's say for the common man who maybe doesn't want to go through a non-automatic way, do we just put that in a card? We store it underneath our pillow?
So I know that there are services where you can like message, like Etsy does stuff where like you can have someone etch something into something. My concern has always been like, well, if I send them my seed phrase, they'll have it. But what I think I would do, I've thought about this, and I think that my plan would be to like get 3 different people, and each one of them do like a certain set of the words, but maybe have them like mixed around a bit.
The keeper of the phrase.
Yep, exactly. And then I will just have 3 different cards, and I will know in which order they like. You got to put them together in order to make the thing. Like if you just look at one of them, it's not going to make sense. Like obviously, I've started to have more fun with this.
Compress it and encrypt it on your computer.
No.
That one's not bad.
No, I think that that's not the right move for me personally.
You need to install a sundial in your backyard and only at exactly noon.
Yep. Gonna take some different, like, I'm gonna have some of it in like invisible ink. So you're gonna have to like put it to a flame in order to see it, and it's like a risk. 'Cause you're like,
there's a sundial with 1,200 words, and she has 24 hidden times
and
in her house.
Locations and like so geographic locations.
Yeah, and so she has to go and make a trip to 24 different locations in and around her area in order to figure out what time she's supposed to look at so that she can translate that into words.
Yeah, it's going to be a really strong motivation not to forget. Because I tell you what, I would memorize something if that was what I would have to go through in order to get it again. I mean, I memorized my credit card number so I wouldn't have to keep getting up and going to my purse every time I wanted to buy something online. So
that's a power move right there. That's a fact. Now, listen, I'd like to, as much as this is hilarious, I'd like to reel it back in a little bit. I need some questions answered here. I need to ask, cryptocurrencies, they're not really stored on a wallet, right? They're in a database. Isn't that the case?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was saying before about a safety deposit box. So you don't actually hold them in a wallet per se, because if you made copies of that, then you'd have copies of the exact same thing, which is just the key that accesses that address. And so with that key, you can do anything that that address can do. It makes you owner of that.
Right on, got you. Now, this might be a little bit of a more difficult concept to kind of grasp if we don't have visual aids. But could you briefly go over private and public keys and how that relates to cryptocurrency wallets?
Yeah, so the public key is a derivation of the private key. It's like a signature. And you can say, hey, this is me. And you can use that as a signature. And it also is, a pathway to send you funds or to give you ownership of something.
Okay.
It's a digital key.
Right on. Okay, cool.
So the ownership could be gas or ownership of something in a contract or control of some sort of contract.
The thing that's really exciting is how customizable and how flexible the tool is, because it can do so many things. And it's just kind of waiting to be defined.
Okay. So in which case, with these private keys, you can sign a transaction, or rather, it's a public key? Which one helps you sign the transaction?
The private one, the one that you don't want anyone to ever know.
Gotcha.
That is derived from your mnemonic, maybe, depending on how your key was generated. So not all private keys are related to a mnemonic.
Interesting. Okay, so there's more than one way that these can come about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can derive a private key from a mnemonic, but you can't go back up the chain, to my knowledge.
Okay. Now, yeah, if there's some kind of niche way of that happening, then that could take some looking into, right? But to your knowledge, that's not something that occurs, right? Okay, so with these private keys, right, if you sign a transaction, if you're sending something, you're sending something similar to, like, in real life, someone, you have to know where that needs to go, right? If you're receiving funds, is there a way to stop that, or is it just something that, like, people can just send you stuff? Okay.
Yeah, people can just send you stuff. No blockchains that I know of exist that don't allow just the pure sending of something. But all you're really doing is you're touching a digital ledger. And wherever your signature is, you are making a statement. And that statement affects your balance. And so if I knew Sieg's address and sent him 1 unit of gas on a blockchain, then all I'm doing is I'm signing that I'm moving 1 unit of this to this other address, and then it reduces my balance by that number and increases the other address by that number.
And that's all on a database.
Yeah, public database typically.
Understood. Okay. And so, yeah, we're just shifting numbers around in a database, but not actually sending it from one to another. Cool. Now, so I remember this when I first started. This was a little bit scary. I remember my first time getting dusted. Now, for viewers, listeners, etc. at home, would you be willing to briefly touch on dusting, what it is? Is there anything really to do about it? Is there things that we need to be careful of?
Yeah.
It's the same question you asked before about it not being able to stop someone from sending you something or giving you ownership of something.
Yeah. So basically, dusting is usually something that scam tokens are most famous for, although anybody can do it. Essentially what happens is a token that you didn't buy shows up in your wallet. And there's a couple different reasons. Sometimes it's pretty innocuous. Like you can see how many different wallets hold a certain token. And so sometimes new companies will dust tokens to random wallets in order to make it look like they have a much larger holder base. So that in and of itself is pretty much like, it doesn't really do anything one way or another. Or people will sometimes, by people I mean projects, will kind of send their tokens to famous wallets or watched wallets. This happened a lot with VB before he started liquidating tokens that did that to him. Where people would be like, oh yeah, no, look, he's got my token in his wallet. We're a legitimate project. And he was like, I don't even know what this is. And then started to liquidate that to prevent people from doing it further. The other thing that happens with dusting, though, is with scam tokens, they are looking for a way to get into your wallet. And the best way that they can think to do that is by giving you a token and asking you to go to a bad address to sell it or to move it out of your wallet. And then when you go into that and you agree, like, yes, I want to sell this, that is something which can trick you into giving access away give access to people so that they can utilize your wallet maybe without even noticing it, and then they can do whatever they want with your funds.
So you're signing a transaction to approve moving funds in your wallet, and without realizing it, you're not just approving that coin they sent you, but it could be anything in your wallet.
Yeah, it's like the Trojan horse, that lets them in.
I see. So you have to really be careful what you're accepting, and sometimes it's not even worth it, it sounds, to sell these, huh?
Yeah.
You have to go to a website especially. Generally
speaking, the rule of thumb that I live by is if I didn't buy it, if I don't know what it is, I just leave it the hell alone. I don't usually buy, sell, move, touch. If it's something weird that I don't know what it is, it can just quietly live in the background for all I care. That to me is better than potentially risking having my wallet security compromised.
Right on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Richard would agree with the sentiment. There's no such thing as a free lunch unless you're hanging out with Richard, right?
Sure, I'll cook you something.
It's true, he will.
I love his steaks. 10 out of 10. So now I'm thinking about something. We were talking about hot and cold wallets, and there are a couple cold wallets, not to name any. These can run a little bit on the expensive side. Do you happen to have any recommendations off the top of your head for maybe a cheaper alternative, but with more security to some of these wallets? I know, Richard, you mentioned there's like passwords that you can do as a paper wallet. Is there anything else that might come to mind for raising your security aside from good practices online in regards to wallets?
Outside of the wallet that we're building?
Oh, yes. So you are in fact building a wallet, Richard. Did you maybe want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah. We're building a software-based wallet that is designed to increase security and help people with best practices for how to manage their assets in the most secure ways.
Cool. Now, what are some of the functions that you can know? I know we have to be a little secretive when we're talking about projects that people are working on. But in regards to your wallet that you're building together with your team, what are some of the things that you can do that you might not see in other wallets, or things that you combine together that you might not see in other wallets? What are some cool features?
We're definitely going to be giving users the ability to manage their keys backed up in secure ways, including creation of paper wallets and offline keys behind passwords and different things like that. We're also going to give step recommendations for users that are brand new to the space and make sure that those tools are easy and simple to use.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's similar to that that Bitcoin wallet, paper wallet function that you were talking about, correct?
Yep.
Cool. And then it just makes it so you can do it. What networks is this on? Is this like BNB or BSC, I should say, and like Ethereum and all that?
Yeah, we're covering EVM-based wallets first, and expanding to Bitcoin and XLM and Ripple and other wallets as time and demand.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'd like to have a little bit more security personally in that regard. I have a cold wallet. I'm not going to name names because you have to be careful with that kind of thing. But I would like, when I make new private keys, to have something online with a little bit more security, but without having to shell out $70 or so. So that's pretty interesting. I appreciate that. Cool. Now, I've got to wonder, in terms of security, right? There's always going to be hackers. Do you know some of the safeguards that help with encrypting wallets that help with this, aside from the seed phrase? What makes it difficult for hackers?
Encryption at rest using the most secure algorithms your application support.
Okay. Do you happen to know, if you had to brute force a crypto wallet, how difficult that is?
So it depends. We've seen, I think it was Trezor that had that $2 million recovery recently. One of the hardware wallet companies had a hacker. There was a guy that had $2 million secured on a wallet, and he wanted to get access to it, and he paid a hacker to access it. And it wasn't through a force mechanism. He just hacked the hardware itself.
Oh wow, really? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And so I would say encryption at rest, because even if it was just a thumb drive, if you would have just had it encrypted, you would have had to know the password. And as long as it's a length long enough, you're not going to have it happen in someone's lifetime.
Gotcha. So what I'm saying is I have to train my great-great-grandchildren to get the money out of your wallet.
Yeah, or some of the functionality that our wallet is going to have is going to help with allowing users to give other people access to funds after certain events were to occur.
Ah, okay. So it's almost like estate planning, but on the blockchain. That's really cool. That's something that I take interest in. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and we're going to allow you to secure that in a few different ways.
Okay. Are you able to talk to any of that at this time, or is it under wraps?
Just that we're going to give family members kind of easy access and visibility into family trust accounts. And this includes really fun things like spending limits and that kind of thing that you can give to users. And so you can kind of design plans around your life.
Yeah, and something that's actually really exciting about this in today's day and age is the ability to control your finances and things like, who inherits what without the need of going through an official fiduciary. Is that the term?
That's a word.
That is a word. But the point being that, say you end up divorcing your spouse, and if you did not want them to have access to any of your funds if you were to pass, you don't have to try to go and do all that extra paperwork to get it done, because anything that you do to change any of your wills or assets, it's a hassle. It's a lot. It usually requires a lot of time and energy. This is something where you would be able to easily and quickly control that yourself. That also is really valid in different parts of our world. If you have a partner that you want to have shared funds with, and there are issues with claiming that partner because of marriage or other, policies, this is a way for you to manage your finances the way that you want without requiring on a government or government-supported entity to approve of those actions. And that does get a little bit political, but blockchain actually is political. The reason that it is here is as a way to step out of, outside of a corrupt system.
Right.
Huh?
An attempt.
Yeah, an attempt. Thank you. It's true.
Because not everyone is, not every government agency is necessarily cool with every single lifestyle choice, right?
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Rightfully. That makes sense. Cool. Now, I know we are rounding out towards the end of our time here. I did want to briefly touch on cryptocurrency exchanges. Specifically, I know that there's custodial, I believe it's what it's called, custodially held crypto assets, like in wallets. Do you own that? Or what's going on with that? I know there's some weird stuff going with that.
Yeah, so this is the difference between centralized and decentralized exchanges. A centralized exchange, they house your assets themselves, and then they give you functionality to those assets behind a password. And decentralized exchanges are the opposite, where they just exist and you can interact with them and they do functions for you and you keep your funds.
Gotcha. So a custodially held wallet, which is a centralized exchange holding, that's not yours, right? That's them holding onto it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like it's yours. They tell you it's yours. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, it's the same as having your money in any other institution. They have to be the ones that allow you to move it or do things with it. You don't have that ability to do it on your own.
Gotcha. So yeah, if there's a bankruptcy,
Mm-hmm.
that's theirs, right?
Coinbase.
Yeah. Oh, hey, are we naming names here?
I didn't. I was just clearing my throat. Did that sound like something?
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Nope, not at all. Awesome. So in your opinion, currently right now, what cryptocurrency would you recommend? Aside from your own, of course. On the market, what are some wallets you can name that you think are pretty decent?
I mean, what cryptocurrencies or wallets?
Wallets. Oh, no, yeah, give me those recommendations for those sweet 2Xs.
I mean, right now with the market being down, stable coins have a lot of value if you don't have the time or ability to research smaller projects. I mean, ETH is down, BNB is down, Bitcoin's down, and as far as, if you're just getting started and you haven't had the chance to familiarize yourself in the space, there's no shame in investing in stable coins like that. That's a good starting point.
Okay. I was half joking about the crypto.
Oh, sorry.
Part, but,
my bad. I took you seriously.
No, it's okay. I appreciate you taking this seriously. Just for random wallet recommendations, things that you've seen. I know MetaMask is very widely used. Just trying to err people away possibly against random wallets they might see. on the wayside. But
I found MetaMask to be the best wallet that I've used, but I haven't used a whole lot of other wallets. I think that the thing that is important is to be able to do research into the wallet if it's not one of like the main wallets like MetaMask. Before you get involved, because there are a lot of projects and products that are improving upon MetaMask. You just need to make sure that they actually are doing what they're saying they're doing. And if they are a legitimate company, it should be relatively easy to do some research and see that. They'll at least, do some base level research. But if you don't have the time or energy to do that, then I would stick with like the mainstream stuff like MetaMask, because you know that it's a pretty safe bet for the space. There's a lot that could be improved on it, but at least they're not, an actual scam.
Right, fair enough. I know MetaMask seems very bare bones. It doesn't really have very many features. It definitely doesn't have a lot of the features that Richard was hinting to earlier. I guess just to sum it up, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think you have to use a little bit of discretion and, what a reasonable individual would think is not a scam site. If a place is like, yeah, please log in and send us money, and it's early 2000s, it might be, it might not
I'm
be.
a Nigerian prince.
Oh yeah, just tons of scams out there. So you're gonna have to just use what you would consider relevant sources to figure that out until people start to fix this space.
And it's kind of like, if it takes you a few days to figure out, to do research and find what you want to move forward with, those few days are usually not going to be make or break. It's worth it to be safe and do research than rush it and potentially put yourself in a situation where your privacy is at risk, because that could be your funds. It could be more.
Right on.
Yeah.
I think that's actually just really good advice in general that you just said there, Rachel, is waiting a little bit, like thinking, spending that extra time.
Yeah.
I've seen many people, they just rush because they see an opportunity and they're like, oh yeah, I can make money here. And they sign on to a website and they sign off their funds.
It's really hard. It's hard because the crypto space is so filled with FOMO. The feeling like, if you don't get in on this one thing, then you might miss that opportunity. And that, I'm not going to say that's never the case, but it's rarely the case. It's rarely the case where a day of like making sure that you're doing things right is going to be the make or break for you. If a project crashes really hard, ask yourself if you really were going to buy it and then sell it in 24 hours. Maybe you could have been like, oh, dang, I could have gotten in and then I could have sold it. And it's like, maybe you could have, but it's important to also think about whether or not you would have, and being realistic about your behavior and what you actually missed out on or didn't, if that makes sense.
I like that. Be realistic. Be realistic about your behavior. That's great. Well, our time has been rounded out. I'm super appreciative that you, Rachel, and Richard were willing to speak to me. This has been Mr. Geis, your host. And here's PyxelChat talking about wallets today. The crypto word, the crypto slang of the day is moon. What does moon mean, Rachel?
It means when you make a whole lot of money. When it goes to the moon, it goes all the way up.
To the moon, baby.
To the moon.
Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys.